What's up?
What's up, guys?
This is table number 8.
Coming to you live from
K9.
I'm Kelsey.
I'm Harriet.
I'm Edward.
Don't be shy, Mikey.
I'm Michael.
And we're doing our crash course on
The Harlem Renaissance.
Not the Globetrotters.
Not the Harlem Shake. The Renaissance.
Harlem Renaissance.
Renaissance. Renaissance. Yeah.
Alright, so the Harlem Renaissance went from about 1917 to 1935. The Harlem Renaissance was important because it laid the framework for later literature within the African American community after around 1935. Some might have even said that the Harlem is like the Mecca for African Americans during the 1920s. Harlem was a place for expansion for photographers, artists, writers, poets, etc. Yeah. Many who participated in the Harlem Renaissance sought to kind of reconceptualize this idea of the Negro, I guess you could say. They wanted to paint themselves different from the stereotypes that were presented. Harlem Renaissance wasn't necessarily limited to Harlem, although that was kind of the focal point. That's a good word. It was the focal point of the movement. Harlem was located in the northern sector of Manhattan. Some of the causes of the Harlem Renaissance included the Great Migration, which began around 1905. The Great Migration started because of the Southern laws and the injustices that were happening in the South prompted many African Americans to move northern. I can't speak. Northward prompted them to move north. There we go. Another reason for the Harlem Renaissance included this increasing amount of literacy, people getting their education. It was also a result of the creation of national organizations that sought to expand civil rights, and it was also because of an increasing amount of racial pride that African Americans began to portray in Harlem.
Jazz!
Hip-hop.
Jazz was very popular amongst the citizens of Harlem at the time and was growing nationally and worldwide. Many nightclubs like the Apollo Theater displayed the vibrant intimacy of jazz. Artists like Duke Ellington, Bessie Smith, Billie Holiday, and Louis Armstrong drew huge crowds. Jazz was known as the people's music. African Americans as well as white Americans throughout the nation caught jazz fever, like Kelsey.
Yeah! Alright. Between 1920 and 1930, an outburst of creativity among African Americans occurred in every aspect of art. This cultural movement became known as a New Negro Movement, which later became the Harlem Renaissance. Harlem attracted art actors and artists from all around the country that happened to be African American at the same time. African Americans were encouraged to clear-bait their heritage and become the New Negro, a term coined in 1925 by sociologist and critic Alan Leroy Locke. An example of this New Negro type of philosophy could be shown in Aaron Douglas, who was a Harlem Renaissance artist. Aaron Douglas painted murals for public buildings and produced illustrations and cover designs for many black publications, including The Crisis and Opportunity. He moved to Nashville, Tennessee, where he founded the art development at Fisk University. Soon, when the Harlem Renaissance started up, he moved back and created a new movement in which the New Negro philosophy was shown all throughout Harlem. Swag, swag, Caillou. Got him. As Michael Tang explained before, music was an important development within the Harlem Renaissance, and this could be shown in Billie Holiday, one of the greatest musicians. Growing up singing in jazz clubs, at the age of 18, Billie was spotted by John Hammond, and she recorded her first album. Later on, she went on to 5 musical developments all throughout Harlem. She covered a few songs that became jazz standards, like God Bless the Child, Don't Explain, Fire and Mellow, and Lady Sing the Blues. Alright, one of the most well-known writers from the Harlem Renaissance throughout the 1950s could be shown in Langston Hughes.
He wrote like 2 poems or 3 poems entitled Harlem.
Thanks, Kels.
You're
Alright.
welcome.
He was a writer whose piece range from novels to plays, and even sometimes songs. Langston Hughes lived with his friend the Reeds after his grandmother died in 1910, and he died of cancer, unfortunately, and he will always be remembered as one of the greatest writers of the Harlem Renaissance.
It's time for the mystery
Who's gonna read a document? If he gets the author wrong, he gets a pie to the face. Let's start this up, Mike.
Democracy will not come, today, this year, nor ever, through compromise and fear. I have as much right as the other fellow has to stand on my 2 feet and on the land. I tire so of hearing people say, let things take their course. Tomorrow is another day. I do not need my freedom when I am dead. I cannot live on tomorrow's bread. Freedom is a strong seed, planted in a great need. I live here too. I want freedom, just as you.
Alright, Mike, who's the author?
Tough one. Dr. Seuss? No, wait. I think it's Langston Hughes.
wait, we gotta clean it up.
Alright, my bad.
Hey!
Smacked me hard, too!
The Harlem Renaissance impacted our modern culture a lot. So, with the Harlem Renaissance came this burst of culture, creativity, lots of arts, lots of literature, music, you name it, straight out of Harlem. That was due to the fact that they were all living together. They influenced generations of African American artists, writers, painters, whatever. One thing that wouldn't have happened without the Harlem Renaissance, undoubtedly, is hip hop music.
Oh.
Yeah, Biggie Smalls, Tupac, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul. Now the greater freedom of speech and expression for African Americans was what influenced the openness of the lyrical content. So you hear a lot of swearing, a lot of kind of edgy lyrics in rap music today. And
how edgy?
Oh, how edgy, you say? Just about as edgy as Kelsey Chopra herself.
Oh, that's
pretty edgy.
That's not that edgy.
Yeah, I guess that's not that edgy. But the hip-hop artists of the 21st century, and they pay homage to the great jazz musicians of the Harlem Renaissance. And A Tribe Called Quest, they do what is called sampling, and they sample jazz music in their own hip-hop and stuff. And one song that was totally influenced by Harlem Renaissance and the jazz movement is the song called Jazz by A Tribe Called Quest.
Alright, okay, what are we gonna say?
9.
Harlem Renaissance is important because Keeper.
I'm not ready.
Are you looking at this right now? My cat is chasing a squirrel.
We're gonna cut that to that part. Alright. One of the most well-known rappers. Not rappers. Notorious B.I.G. I'll restart this. Shut up, Kelsey.
Shut up, Arian.
Shut up!
Alright! Howdy doodly.
I'm not literate.
And they had less restrictions from the white folks surrounding.
How white were they?
Oh, they were as white as my butt tucks. Which is whiter than a piece of paper.
Michael's the bee's knees.
Jazz.
Hashtag we out.
Represent East Bay. Alright, we're done.